Hello dear listener, dear viewer, my name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe, the host of this show, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. As always, I want to bring you exciting, new and life-changing content. I've got Mr. Mokobi this time around. I've always been bringing entrepreneurs. This time I'm bringing you an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur is someone who's working within a company, maybe as an employee or on some other capacity, but who's not running 100% his own show. So as I said, our objective is to ensure that we have intrapreneurs as well as entrepreneurs. Mr. Mokobi, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Mr. Mogobe. I really appreciate you hosting me today.
Yes.
As Mr. Mogobe said, I'm an entrepreneur. I work within, and my profile, I wear many hats, Mr. Mogobe. I'm the mechanic by profession, and currently I'm the marketing and product support manager for a company called GT Auto. I'm also an associate pastor for a church called Word of Destiny Church, which is based in Pakalani. And our senior pastor is Pastor Lerumo. So
yeah, Lerumo it's a past guest of this show. So
yes,
we have a very good relationship. But let's go through to the heart of the matter. We've got 10 nuggets of wisdom on this subject of gearing up for success.
Yes.
Within an enterprise, within an organization,
yes.
People are challenged how really to have that success mindset, even if they happen to be employees. So,
yes.
The idea is to really unlock the best version of yourself.
Yes.
And the first thing we talked about when prepping for the show was the need to love your job or to love what you do. Why is that important? Can you talk more about loving your vocation or your job or your responsibilities in an organization?
I guess for the past 10 years in this field, I've realized that to love your job is the most important thing that makes you to achieve and be successful in the business, in whatever that you do. If you don't love your job, you tend not to go an extra mile. But when you love your job and you love what you do, you go an extra mile, no matter what the consequences, no matter what you face, because of the love that you have for the job that you're doing, the love that you have for what you're doing, you tend to go an extra mile and do even certain things that maybe your boss doesn't, it's not within your scope, because you love your job. So you tend to want to do an extra mile so that you can achieve at the end of the day, so that the business can be successful.
And one of the things you mentioned, second point, is that you should be able to take small steps. Quite often people want to get to certain positions very fast.
Yes.
Can you explain what you're referring to by small steps? What are these important small steps that have to be taken?
I guess what I meant by that is that, in any other business or in any other organization, as a worker or as a businessman, you always want to achieve certain things, and you always want to see yourself in a certain area. But it all starts by taking small steps. One thing that I've realized is that, you can dream big, yes, but when you want to do everything fast and not do things slowly, you tend to fail at the end of the day, because you don't tend to focus on what can be a disturbance on the way, or what can be a hindrance. We tend to lose focus on those hindrances because we say we are running for a goal to achieve something. But those hindrances, because you are taking small steps bit by bit, you tend now to deal with whatever hindrances you face on the way. You tend to deal with whatever circumstances that you face. And a lot of times when you are there, you want to be promoted at work, you want to see yourself.
Everybody wants to be
you want
promoted.
to see yourself holding a certain position, but at the end of the day, really, to get to that position, there are certain things that you should have gone through to really be successful, that when you hold that position, when you look back, you say, but I started somewhere. I'm here now because I went through all these challenges, I went through all learning all these things, and now I'm mature enough to say, with the small steps that I went through, they've matured me to a certain level that now I believe that when I'm there now, I look back and I'm happy.
One of the things you'd say is plan for it. And perhaps you could use as an example your own life story to say, how does that work? How do you plan for it? What did you plan for, and what were you able to succeed within your organization?
What I mean by that is, you know,
Succeed in accomplishing. That's what I mean.
Yeah, succeed in accomplishment. I guess when I really started 10 years ago as a mechanic in a company, in a big one of the big companies from Botswana, which is Toyota, and I quit my job now and went into sales. And with my background and my expertise of mechanic, when I joined another company doing sales and marketing, and they wanted a technical guy, so I said, I'm up for this challenge because I'm technical. You know, when you go to the mine, they'll ask you questions and all that, but with that technical mind of being an engineer,
so you started as a mechanic?
Yes.
But then you went into the engineering?
Yes, I went to...
While still employed?
While still employed. Went into marketing. And so now I've realized that, you know, when you plan for everything that you do, you need to plan for it. And when you plan your work and you plan everything, you tend to achieve more than you thought.
Yeah.
If you don't plan, and you also have to plan for your success at the end of the day, because you know you don't want to be successful and you haven't planned, and now you get or whatever riches or everything that you get, and then at the end of the day you just squash it because you haven't planned for it.
Yeah.
So
they say that if you don't plan, you're actually planning to fail.
Yes. You don't plan, you actually plan.
Failing to plan means planning to fail.
Yes. So in whatever that you do, you plan for it. You plan for your meetings, you plan for all the outcomes. And when you plan, be positive, have all the negative mindset as well. That if I plan for this and it fails, what's next?
In other words, take account of the negative as well.
Yes.
Even as much. In other words, you plan for the best, but you have to deal with the worst as well, or prepare for the worst as well.
Yeah, prepare for the worst, because when you prepare for the worst, now even when the worst comes, you are already ready to take a second step. You don't want now when you've prepared for the best and the worst happens and you don't have a solution for the worst, and now everything gets shattered. You have to be ready for whatever that comes.
Okay. One of the points that I want you to talk about is team building. You are part of a team where you are. What can you tell the listener about the importance of creating successful teams, and what can you share on the subject of team building? Because I know that it's been said that there's no I in team, but there's I in win. And this is a famous saying from a certain basketball player by the name of Jordan. You know, the famous Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan,
yeah. So what do you say about team building?
Team building is very important because you don't want to work with people that don't align with your vision. And you need people that really
embrace the vision
and support the vision. Because if you don't have people that embrace the vision and support the vision, and you run with people that really don't know what they're doing, they are just there because they want money, they want salary at the end of the day, you will not achieve. That is why it is important that you have a team, that you prepare their mindset. You have a team that when you work with, you know that I will achieve whatever that I want to achieve. I guess with me being in the mining industry, I've got to learn a lot that, you know, in all the mines that I've visited around Botswana, all the sections there, you find that they work together, not as an individual. And that is why they manage to get and to achieve whatever they achieve, because they are together, they are in one accord. And in all the organizations and all the companies that I've worked into, I've learned to see, I got to see certain areas that when people were not together and everyone wanted to have a piece.
Can you give examples without mentioning names?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. You know, as a company that was doing hydraulics, you know, in hydraulics you have a lot of sections. One strips, one assess, one does quotations. But if then you are not working together in all these sections, at the end of the day, you produce a product that is not suitable in the market, or you produce a product that is bound to fail. So now you find that within this where I've worked, certain people will say, "Oh, I want to sabotage that one." So I won't tell them their mistake of what they, because they've seen what mistake you have made. But instead, when you are working together, when I see that you are doing something wrong, I will say, Mr. Mokobi, but here I think you are doing wrong. So let's do it like this, then we get to achieve a certain goal. But now when you don't work together, when you're not a team, then every man for himself, even the product that you produce.
So what happened in that situation?
What happened in that situation?
Yeah.
Of course, at the end of the day, we learned, things started failing. And when we looked back, we realized that there is no teamwork here. So if there's teamwork and, people started working as a team.
So does this require specialized training, or you think it just really needs leadership? How do you create good teamwork? Is it a leadership thing, or you need an external person to come and train your team members?
It's both. It's leadership. It starts with leadership. A good leader, I believe a good leader doesn't blame. He takes the blame and for that, what he's doing, for the organization.
Takes responsibility.
Takes responsibility. A good leader also now doesn't side with anyone. Yeah, because we also need external people that can help us with training, because I've realized that in all the organizations that I work in, if you don't get proper training that really helps you as workers to work together and not as an individuals, and to try and look at the goal that you want to achieve and don't look at yourself.
I understand.
Yes.
Let's talk about learning from the competitors. Quite often people want to kill their competitors, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
To get rid of them, to outwit them. But you are saying we should learn from the competitors. I happen to agree with you, but I want to understand your thinking. Why do you think we should learn from our very own competitors?
We should learn from our own competitors because, as we compete in whatever field that we are going, whatever field that we are in, you find that certain mistakes other competitors make. And then you don't want to find yourself having been part of the mistake, yet you haven't learned. You see that someone is not doing something well, or you see that really they are not achieving their goal because they've went through this situation. But then you follow the same route. You are not learning. I believe as a competitor out there, I should learn from the mistakes of the other competitor and capitalize on those mistakes on my side.
I understand.
Yes. That's all I want. I want to just capitalize on their mistakes. So I should learn whatever mistakes.
Does that mean you pay them visits, or you talk to members of the opposing team from time to time? How do you get that? I call it intelligence. How do you get that intelligence, that information?
How do you get that intelligence? It's not easy. It's not easy. But, when you're competing, I think working in the mining environment, the quality of what the other competitor brings, I look at that and I tend to ask other people questions to say, really, what do you think of that? How quality is it? And me on my side, I tend to work with all the people that I'm supporting, to say, all the people that are my clients, to say, what is it that I can improve based on looking at what my competitors have, to say, what is it that I can improve on my side so that I can be like that guy or better than that guy. And I always say to people, the person that you work with, or the person that you is your client, they will never lie to you. There's a saying that all clients, all the clients
correct. The customer is always right.
The customer is always right. When I heard that saying at first, I didn't understand it. I was like, no, there's no way.
How do you understand it now?
But now I've tend to realize that, every customer, they expect a certain level of integrity. And whatever product that you give them, they expect it to be in a certain way. So when you see a customer complaining, they are not complaining because they are saying you are the worst client or you are the worst person. They are not saying I don't want to deal with you, but they are complaining so that you improve yourself. So now the customer is always right, because the customer, what they want to achieve at the end of the day is a product that is suitable in the market. And at the end of the day, when you yourself, and the customer is complaining, and you tend to now to say no, but you as a customer also, you didn't give me this and that for me to be able to achieve. You're not, the relationship there is not going to work. You should be able to take responsibility to say, okay, you're complaining, I did not, my product here is not suitable, but what is it that I can do to make it suitable to improve on my side?
All right, you've become very successful within your organization. You hold a senior position, and one of the things you talk about is the importance of building confidence. How did you build your confidence so that you can assume the position of leadership that you have, or to grow into that leadership position that you occupy in your organization?
I guess I've met different clients in my scope of work. I had a lot of clientele that, some of the people in the mines, they are very difficult to deal with. And if you are not confident, you give up. But I tend to find that, you face a giant out there. Whenever you wake up in the morning and you go out of your house and you say, I'm going to work, just know that you are going to the battlefront. And
incidentally, which mines did you work for? Did you face all these giants?
I guess BCL was what groomed me.
Yes.
It was a tough mine, because I started there 2010 until the mine closed. We were a subcontract in that mine, so until the mine closed. So when it closed, because I was based in the mine, I was going to the mine every day, every morning, till I knock off. Sometimes I'll work late at night. I'll face all these managers, all these superintendents, all these bosses that are difficult, that when you go into a meeting, they just want to squash you. And if you are not confident, you leave that meeting, you are like, no, you know what?
So what is the trick? How did you build your confidence?
I guess I said to myself, because I'm a child of God and now I'm a pastor, I just looked at to say, what Jesus went through. Jesus was tormented and he went all through this. And I said to myself, am I not facing the same thing? So if now I give up, I'm not really
at a much lower level.
So if I carry Christ in me, I should be confident enough to say, what, it doesn't matter. Whatever giant I face, whatever situation I go through, I just have to keep on pushing.
Are you able to give an example of a situation where really this confidence based on your faith came to your assistance?
I guess I have one client there at the mine one time that really, when you entered the mine on his section, he will shout at you with all his juniors here to say, I don't want to see you, I don't want a meeting with you, what, I don't want your business. And when someone says that to you, and the juniors and cleaners, and you are like, hey, this guy. So I had one client, he was just a radical guy. So I had to face this challenge. I said, I need business from that guy. He's got a lot of business that I need. But now, for me to get it, I just have to just fight like a lion, go for it. Whatever criticism, I should just always be coming to his office. He will not see me, but eventually he will come down and say, let me hear what's your story. He chased me in his office more than 10 times.
You kept going back?
But I kept going to the guy and said,
how did you eventually win? And when he gave you the meeting, what did you say to him?
So eventually I went to his office. He's like, I always tell you that I don't want to see you. So why are you here? Anyway, let me just listen to your story. So I presented my case.
You were ready. You were ready.
Yes. I said, this is what I...
With your pitch.
This is what I can offer. And it was just after I did that few days later, he had a crisis. And the guy that he was giving, who was my competitor, given the same stuff that he was giving to, failed him. And when he failed him, he remembered me that there's this guy. Let me try him. And when he tried me, I did my best. And ever since then, that guy loved me.
Yeah, because you performed at the highest level of excellence.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And then I tend to realize that, if you're not confident enough, you lose heart.
All right, let's talk about this one is important for Botswana. We're always saying in Botswana that this is Botswana, there's no hurry in Botswana. But I think your argument is that time is money. How do you get an employee, whoever might be watching now, who's an employee, to appreciate that time is really cash? Time is money.
Yes. I always say, there's a certain scripture in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, that says, don't boast about tomorrow because you don't know what tomorrow brings. A lot of times when people are in the working environment, they tend to relax and just take their time, and you are given an assignment, and maybe it's a 20-day period till the last day, till the closing date. You want to submit on the last day. But my thinking is that before the last day comes, you should have done everything and submitted. That's why I say time is money. Time waits for no man. Really, time waits for no man. And you don't know what tomorrow. Don't reserve anything for tomorrow and say, no, yes.
That's deadly. And loosely translated is that I'm giving the very minimum.
Yes.
Because I'm not paid much.
But if you give your maximum, you will tend to achieve much. And people don't look at it that way. But I've tend to realize that, time is money. And whatever small time that you are given, do your best out of it. Because that small time can make you achieve a lot.
Do you know that a lot of people go to work simply to go on social media and to do one or two basic tasks, and then next thing they are surprised when time comes for retrenchment? They are the first ones to be considered for retrenchment.
Yes.
Can you talk to those people on the subject of time is money?
I guess I will say to each and everyone that is listening out there, to say, do your best each and every time. Don't wait for the last day. I guess with the company that I worked before I started at GT Auto, we went through retrenchment. And truly I was not on that list, because I knew whatever time that I had, I was doing my best. And my bosses were happy. I never had any complaint from my bosses, because they were happy with what I'm doing.
Because you applied yourself.
Yes, because I said to myself, I will apply my skill, I will apply my knowledge to whatever challenge that I face.
The other thing that people don't realize is that the less they work, the more they endanger their work.
Yes.
Their employment is placed in jeopardy. Do they really realize that?
No. A lot of people don't realize that. You wait till the last day now when you are told you are being retrenched because you haven't been performing. And then you look back and you're like, I've been going to work, I've been doing this. You try to really justify yourself. But at the end of the day, it's not working. All I'm saying is, each and every day when you wake up and go to it, just say, I just want to achieve something. When you have that mindset to say, it doesn't matter whether I achieve one thing or I achieve two, I will make sure that today I want to achieve something. I want to use my time wisely.
Okay. Now, we've been talking that everybody is a brand. That is something that is discussed, mentioned everywhere on YouTube and on social media, that you are a brand. And I like the way you've introduced the subject. You say people must build their identity. You say build your identity. Explain the importance of building an identity, especially for someone who's an entrepreneur. By that I mean somebody who works hard and works like an entrepreneur within a company. Why must they build their brand and build their identity? I want you to break that down for me, please.
Let me break it down in this way. In everything that you do, there should be something that defines you, that separates you from others.
Because you are a unique individual.
Yes, because you are a unique individual. And that, it is your identity. That is your brand. That people will know that when they look at Mokobi, when they look at Mogobe, they know that this is what we see. And building your identity, I believe when you build your identity, you have something that is different. A lot of times as businesses, we always want to do the same thing.
What do you mean the same thing?
What I mean the same thing is that if I see someone opening a bookshop there, I want to open a bookshop. We all want to do the same businesses. But at the end of the day, let there be something that defines you, that separates you from the crowd. And that is your identity. And when you have that unique thing that separates you from the crowd, even as an
whether you work for a company or not.
Whether you work for a company or not, when your boss gives you an assignment, because they know that you are a unique person, they know that you will achieve it. Because if you have something that separates you from all the workers, from all the businessmen, from all the businesswomen, then you are fine. If you have that unique thing that identifies you differently from others.
Because God always gives you that unique mark.
Yes.
That identity.
That identity.
So your challenge is what? To find it and to bring it out and actually to celebrate it.
It's to bring it out and celebrate it. Now I believe we already have it. It's just that we don't find it and we don't bring it out. Each and every person has something that when they do or when they do it differently than others. But then we tend not to now dwell and capitalize on that. And me, I've realized that, in this field for 10 years, I've realized all the things that I'm capitalizing on that are unique. And I said, I'm going to dwell on this. I'm not going to compromise just because this is where I work. As a Christian, a lot of times, being a Christian, especially when you're working in all these environments, it's a challenge. You tend people want you to compromise your Christianity because they want to do.
They say everybody does it.
Everyone does it. and you should.
That's what really sinks you.
Yeah. So you should tend to put your foot down and say, but I want to do it differently. But at the same time, achieve what other people achieve, even if they do whatever they do.
The 9th nugget that we want to focus on is the hunger to learn. Hunger to learn. Can you please cut it into digestible pieces to understand what about this hunger? Do you cultivate it or are you born with it?
You cultivate it, Mr. Mokobi. I believe that whatever business or whatever title you hold at work, there is someone next door, overseas, cross-border, that is having that title. And there are certain things that they're achieving that you're not achieving. And sometimes it's not wrong to ask questions. To say to your boss, to say, how did you get there? Let them narrate to you how they achieved. And you come sit back and you say, okay, if this man can achieve soaring like this, what is it that I can do to really come close, to really make it? As a marketing and product support manager, one of the things that we do at our company, we realize that a lot of products that are out there in the market, especially when you are in the mining sector, you find that machines are being sold, cars are being sold, to the mine, and there's something that is always lacking. People will come and dump something and give it to you because you've bought it.
Poor quality?
No, not poor quality.
No.
It's a good quality.
Okay.
But one thing that lacks after that, it's product support.
After sales support.
After sales support. And that's where, when I started at GT Auto, they gave me the space to say, you know what, we want to do something different. And I tend to learn, I learned a lot just from that. To say, when you have this thing that you are doing, and you are doing it differently from someone else, you have learned all the lessons that this person has went through, and now you are capitalizing on that to say, I'll do something different. I'll offer after sales support, and I will not just dump something and then leave. And tomorrow when you look for space, I tend to go the other way. I look the other round. I say, no, but I don't. That thing was bought in India. So that's why I'm saying hunger to learn. You should be able to learn from the mistakes of your competitors, from the mistakes of those that you work with. You should be able to learn from social media. You should be able to learn from big businesses, how they've achieved what hindrances they've went through. If you learn that, even tomorrow when you start your own business, you know each and everything that you will face on the way, and you are prepared and ready for that.
Fully prepared.
Yes.
So it requires what? Attending also courses and reading people in similar positions and developing yourself even as you work within a company. Am I right?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. I was watching this documentary for Bill Gates. I've been watching it with my wife lately, and I realized, everyone, when we talk about Bill Gates, we know computers. But one thing that he's doing now that I really saw him doing is that he took time to learn that Africa, some of the African countries that are going through a lot of situations that need attendance, that really he stepped in and said, you know what, I want to manufacture solar powered toilets. Because he was looking at the areas, all these areas and all that, to say, these people cannot buy a toilet. A toilet tends to be expensive for them. They don't, sewages, even the government cannot manage. But me as Bill Gates, I want to
he's
come up
doing well with that.
Yeah, he's doing well with that. I want to come up with something that really it can be affordable out there. And when I look at that documentary, and he says it took 7 years just learning, just coming up with all the proposals, just looking at all the loopholes and everything. And I said, right now he's doing well, and I believe even in all the software issues, he's doing well.
He always takes his time to learn.
Yeah, he always takes his time to learn.
Yeah, he says he even takes reading vacations. I read somewhere. All right, let's get to the last nugget, which says, don't give up. That one I embrace fully, because there is if you are interested, dear viewer, there is a previous show I've done on winners never quit and quitters never win. So I see that you identify with that thinking.
Yes.
You say don't give up. Can you speak to that point?
All I can say is that in everything that you do in life, you always face a challenge. The day that you were born, the first challenge that you faced
was to survive.
Was to survive. You see, just the first day that you were born, the first challenge was to survive. When you're at primary school, you ask yourself, will I make it at standard 7? When you get to junior school, will I make it at form 3? And all these things, I believe, if you give up, you will not make it. And I've realized that in life, you will always face challenges. But now, you need not to give up. Whether how tough it is, whether how difficult it is.
So the only time you lose is when you give up.
No, the only time you lose is when you give up.
Yeah, because you can reposition yourself, you can change approaches, but you're still moving forward.
But you're still moving forward. So you should be able to have this mindset to say, you know what, I may not have achieved what I've planned for in 2020, but I'm not going to give up because I didn't achieve it. There's still 2021. There's still 2022. There's still years to come. So if you haven't achieved something last year for 2019...
Can you give an example from your life where other people would have given up, but you persisted, and then subsequently you are rewarded? Are you able to come up with an example?
There's a lot. There's a lot. When I first quit my job, people didn't understand why I was quitting.
Before BCL, you mean your
before, yeah.
Your earlier, which job is it?
I was working at Toyota. I was a technician at Toyota. And I made a decision that by then I was staying with my father. I made a decision that brought a lot of questions in my family members, and they didn't understand. I just quit my job. I said, no, you know what? I think this is where I'm not called to be now. I quit for 6 months. I was staying home. I was surviving. But my dad didn't understand.
Doing what? Researching, reading, planning?
When I quit my job, because I was a technician then, I started working, having my small business, just trying it out to say, you know what, a lot of people need services on their cars, they need repairs. And I said I offered myself to people. Every time when I'm walking around the road, when I see you've got a breakdown, I say, can I assist you? What seems to be the problem? Can I help you? You know, what can I offer? And eventually, I survived. But, it was just one day that now I joined another company after 6 months. And when I joined this company, different position, everything different, but they still needed my expertise of mechanic. I said, okay, I'm taking this challenge. It is a challenge for me. It's my first time to work on sales. I might have done a short course on entrepreneurship, and I qualified my technician, and I'm now going to this challenge. And, it was not easy just saying, having a meeting and convincing someone to say, buy this product, because it wasn't something that I was used to, But I decided I will not give up on this challenge. Let's see where it takes me. And it's when I started that today I look back and there's the marketing and product support manager to say, I started there as a sales rep, and now I've grown
many levels higher.
Yeah, many levels higher. And I did not give up even when I traveled through difficult situations, difficult clients, having all these board meetings that people will lash at you, will say all the negative things about your company, and you had to defend yourself on why this thing has failed.
Well, Mr. Mokobi, we've come to the end of our time together.
Yes.
Do you have a bonus point that you want to leave the viewer with? And also, while you are sharing that, let them know where they can reach you so that perhaps this conversation can go further.
Okay. My last point would be follow your passion, even if it means taking risks. Big risks for that matter. Just follow your passion, Follow your passion if it means taking big risks. And your passion is not something that you will love, but it's something that you believe in. When you believe in something, just follow it. Just do it. Just do your best. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, you will achieve what you never thought you will achieve. Just be fearless. Be fearless at the end of the day. And if you want to contact me and talk to me, My numbers are 718-35788. You can get me on WhatsApp, same number, and then we can talk.
Thank you very much, sir. You've been a wonderful guest. You've shared generously a lot of information. When we invite you back, please come.
Thank you very much.
So that you can share more wisdom with our viewers. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.